So next, let's look at how we could synchronize or pull in files from a remote repository as well as push our local changes upstream to a remote repository. So for that, I'm going to use GitHub, the directory that we've seen before, that we've cloned before, as my remote repository. So right here is where the GitHub page was. And feel free to use this one. But again, I would encourage you to just sign in or sign up, create your own repository. It's a little bit more fun that way to have your own repository, a public or private one. Either way is okay. So if I go back to my terminal window, I want to make sure I'm in a LinkedIn DevNet test repository. And if I do a git remote, I could see this remote as being the origin. If I do a -v, I could see the origin as being, fetch and push. In this case, it's the same link that's, we've seen just from this link right here to copy as the link, cloning or whatnot. So let's go ahead and make some changes. Let's, go ahead and say, look at README file. It's the same README file in the raw format. So let's make some changes to the README file. And I must sign in. So let me go ahead and sign in and make some changes. I've signed in, made my change, and I've added this one line right here. So now that this is a different README file on the remote repository, and that's a little bit different than what I have locally. So if I want to pull in that change, what I want to do is use the git pull command. And it's listed right here, and it would just say git pull. The way the syntax is git pull, and you can have the name of the remote repository as well as the branch. As we've seen before, the master branch usually is the stable branch. So let me go ahead and do this. Git pull origin master. Origin, if I could just spell correctly. Now I pull that in, and you can even see that there's two README file with some changes, one file changed. So if I look at that README file, I could see my change right at the bottom. So what if I want to make new changes to the file and push upstream? So you could see there's a file called my new file text. And if I look at that file, it's empty. So if I do that my new file text and say, I am adding this one line, save that file. Remember, git add my new file, git commit -m, adding line to my new file.txt. And now if I do a git status, yeah, it's great. Look at git remote. If I want to get this change locally to the remote, I want to use git push. So if I use the same logic of syntax, but using a replace pull with push, git push origin master, and I'm pushing this upstream with one object. If I go back to my repository, look at all the file changes, if I look at my new text file, and the added one line change is there. So there you have it. It's a quick rundown of all the different Git operations. There's certainly a lot more that you could do with Git, and there are different ways to do what I've done before. But hopefully this gives you a good overview of the common Git operations that we normally do. I mean, once you start working with Git, the git add, remote, commit, they'll all be second nature to you by the time you add it, the 10th time, and now you're looking for a shortcut. So thanks.